No one would have expected me to wind up like a plant guy. Like it just didn't really go with my character. In my 20s, I was living in Brooklyn and very much a part of that Williamsburg indie rock music scene, booking shows and running music venues. And I was working in production during the days on like fashion shoots and film shoots, a lot of hip hop videos. Oh my God, so many hip hop videos. I was able to like use a lot of that to create these spaces, and it has informed my career as a landscape designer now. But originally, this was not even an inkling of mine. I was coming back and forth from New York because I was still helping kind of like do things at the club. And I came back to Florida, opened my refrigerator, and discovered that a papaya had turned into gelatinous liquid moldy goo in my refrigerator, and I didn't want to put it in the trash can. So I literally like took the bag outside and I like walked to the bushes and I dumped it by the fence. And a few months later, I noticed this tree growing there, or this weedy looking thing. And my landlord came by and she said, "Why are you growing papaya trees in my podocarpus hedge?" And I was like, "Is that what that is?" And it was like a light went off and I was like, wow, you could like grow a fruit tree. You could have tropical fruit growing, and it fruited. And I gave them to my neighbors, and that was a really good experience for me. I really enjoyed like sharing this thing that I'd grown, and that led to this really enduring passion for like sharing the knowledge. And that led to building another space in Little River, Little Haiti called the Center for Subtropical Affairs, which is a name we still use. I tied it to my old life by supporting it through like nightlife events and parties, something I'm not really looking to do here. That was a great transition, and it was a really unique space that brought together all kinds of people from around the community, and I pretty much said yes to just about anything that didn't seem contrary to our mission. Now I love the rare taxonomy, I grow orchids, we work with all kinds of rare aroids, and I have a particular affection for all the Everglades plant. We work really hard in the heat, and we dig holes and we get muddy, and we pretty much are down to a crew of people that really enjoy that kind of work. Because if you don't like doing it, then it's pretty much grueling, hard labor in the hot baking sun. There's a lot of bugs. We are often dealing with insect bites and plant rashes. But we enjoy it, and it is an incredibly unique opportunity to build an ecosystem from scratch. This is disturbed land. It was a landfill. In fact, when they tore down 37th Street to build the highway to connect the beach causeway to I-95, the major expressway, they dumped the foundations of all the buildings on 37th Street in what was a large pond here, leaving the original spring. So that's been a challenge because, you know, we're not working with Florida soil, which is often very thin, and limestone underneath. We have another problem, which is large slabs of concrete and building materials, most of which is thankfully inert and doesn't really affect the plants too much beyond compaction. Over time, here there will be a laboratory. We are gonna be doing orchids, and we're gonna be tissue culturing plants for propagation purposes. We are gonna have some music occasionally, like maybe a couple times a year. It would be fun to bring people in, but we'll open it up for plant sales. But we wanna focus on our core mission, which was always civic ecology, and that involves education. I don't care the background. It's always been an inclusive mission to bring in people from the urban core, whatever background they happen to have. Bringing the local community in Little Haiti in has been a really important part of what we've done. I mean, you see the people that work with me here are, you know, from the neighborhood, but it's also serving the wildlife population. You see species of native bees and butterflies here that you just don't see in the rest of the city because there isn't an ecosystem for them, and there could be. The greater Everglades that we continue to live in, no matter how disturbed it is right there under the surface, and it's in the soil. And it's our job as the stewards of the land to kind of help bring that back and transition these cities that we live in into greener places. I do see us in this unfathomable environmental catastrophe happening in real time that is unavoidably something you can see with your own eyes all around us. And one way that we can avert this crisis is by planting native plants and restoring the ecosystems that were here and are ready to come back. It's really like facilitating it. It's not like we have to start from scratch. All the tools are there, the knowledge is still there. I mean, we just have to tap back into this kind of like connection that we have with the ecosystems that we live in and like be good stewards, because we're not gonna be here forever, but this ecosystem hopefully can be. For me, the real moment when plants saved my life was when the center really fell apart. I was able to come here and start to look at this place and come back to my original vision of working directly with the plants and then bringing the people in later. And that time period, which actually was recently, that was only this last year. I mean, it was like a giant hangover from the party that was the old space where it kind of got away from what the core mission was, to come back to this and just tend to the garden and grow this ecosystem was like, it saved my life. It rescued me from the depths of like the darkest depression I've ever had, because I never tried that hard in my life to do anything. And it was a victim of its own success in a sense. In Miami, really didn't appreciate the garden for what it was so much as the party space that they wanted it to be. And it almost felt like it got trampled in the process. And some of that was my fault. I made a lot of the decisions that led to those outcomes. So being here has given me my joy back. It's given me my center, and it's given me my connection back to myself through the plants, because they teach me everything I need to know about how to like live in the moment and enjoy my life. If there's one thing I want people to take away from a visit here, is that the experience should give them an awareness of what is possible, what nature can look like within the city, because this is a man-made environment on disturbed land, but it still is nature. It's not a park. It's like a natural space where native and human use plants are interacting, but creating a real ecosystem for people and plants and pollinators, to borrow a phrase from Miami Seed Share. I'm Casey Zapp, and for me, plants are the way that I connect to the cycle of life every day.